Today today is Tuesday, March the 9th, 2021, and well, this is the continuation reading of the book of Genesis, which we left on Genesis chapter 50. Genesis chapter, I believe it's chapter 41, but here we go. Genesis chapter 41, and again, this is the continuation reading of the book of Genesis, which is one of my longest running videos on this YouTube channel. And I know that by reading a chapter each day from the Bible, it may lead us to much prosperity, because in today's world there is so much sin around us that even my brother, who is in jail, he's now going through hardships, and eventually he's gonna be able to understand what it means to be in God's path, because many times I struggled to try to teach him how to be a good man. Genesis chapter 42 verse 1 reads, Joseph's brothers go to Egypt. Book of Genesis chapter 42 verse 1 has a title that reads, Joseph's brothers go to Egypt. Verse 1 reads, when Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, why do you just keep looking at each other? He continued, I have heard that there is a grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us, so that we may live and not die. Verse 3 reads, then 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt, but Jacob with the others, because he was afraid that harm that he... Verse 4 reads, but Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with the others, because he was afraid that harm might come to him. Verse 5 reads, so Israel's sons were among those who went to buy grain, for there was famine in the land of Canaan also. Now Joseph was the governor of the land, the person who sold grain to all its people. So when Joseph's brother arrived, they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. As soon as Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. Where do you come from? He asked. From the land of Canaan, they replied, to buy food. Verse 8, although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Verse 9 reads, then he remembered his dreams about them and said to them, you are spies, you have come to see where our land is unprotected. Verse 10 reads, no, my lord, no, they answered, your servants have come to my food. We are all the sons of one man. Your servants are honest men, not spies. Verse 12 reads, no, he said to them, you have come to see where our land is unprotected. Verse 13 reads, but they replied, your servants were 12 brothers, the sons of one man who lives in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no more. Verse 14 reads, Joseph said to them, it is just as I told you, you are spies. And this is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place. You will not leave. Verse 15 reads, and this is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of your number to get your brother. The rest of you will be kept in prison. Verse 17, verse 16 reads, rest of you will be kept in prison so that your words may be tested to see if you are telling the truth. If you are not, then surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies. Verse 17 reads, and he put them all in custody for 3 days. On the 3rd day, Joseph said to them, do this and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison. Why the rest of you go and take grain back for your starving households? But you must bring your youngest brothers to me so that your words may be verified and that you may not die. This they proceeded to do. Verse 21 reads, they said to one another, surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life, but we would not listen. That's why this distress has come on us. Verse 22 reads, Reuben replied, didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? But you wouldn't listen. Now we must give an accounting for his blood. Verse 23 reads, they did not realize that Joseph could understand them since he was using an interpreter. Verse 24 reads from the book of Genesis chapter 42. Verse 24, it says, he turned away from them and began to weep, but then came back and spoke to them again. He had Simon taken from them and bound before their eyes. Verse 25 reads, Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, to put each man's silver back in his sack, and to give them provisions for their journey. After this was done for them, they loaded their gun, they loaded their grains. Verse 26 reads, verse 25 reads, Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, to put each man's silver back on his sack, and to give them provisions for their journey. After this was done for them, they loaded their grain on their donkeys and left. At the place where they stopped for the night, one of them opened his sack to get feed for his donkey. And he saw his silver in the mouth of his sack. My silver has been returned, he said to his brothers. Here it is in my sack. Their hearts sank and they turned to each other trembling and said, what is this that God has done to us? Verse 29 reads, when they came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them. They said, verse 30, book of Genesis chapter 42 verse 30 reads, the man who is Lord over the land spoke harshly to us and treated us as though we were spying on the land. But we said to him, we are honest men, we are not spies. We were 12 brothers, sons of one father. One is no more One is no more, and the younger is now with our father in Canaan. Verse 33 reads, Then the man who is Lord over the land said to us, This is how I will. Verse 33 reads, Book of Genesis chapter 42 verse 33 reads, Then the man who is Lord over the land said to us, This is how I will know whether you are an honest man. Leave one of your brothers here with me and take food for your starving households and go. But bring your youngest brother to me, so I will know that you are not spies but honest men. Then I will give your brother back to you, and you can trade in the land. Verse 35 reads, As they were emptying their sacks, there in each man's sack was his pouch of silver. When they and their father saw the money pouches, they were frightened. Verse 36 reads, Their father Jacob said to them, You have deprived me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simon is no more, and now you want to take Benjamin, everything against me? Then Reuben said to his father, You may put both of my sons to death if I do not bring him back to you. Entrust him to my care, and I will bring him back. Verse 38 reads, But Jacob said, My son will not go down there with you. His brother is dead, and he is the only one left. If harm comes to him on the journey you are taking, you will bring my gray head down to the grave in sorrow. Again, this is the book of Genesis. The book of Genesis is the inception of what the beginning of everything means. When one comes to understand what the numerical meaning of one means that it is the beginning of things. So if the book of Genesis is one, this must mean that the book of Revelations must mean infinity. Infinity is a numerical term used in mathematical terms of speaking, that it's infinite, it has no ending. So my understanding of this realization through this chapter in chapter 42, which is from the book of Genesis, is that there is a story being told here. In ancient times, there was a time in Egypt when there was a brother named Joseph. He was taken to Egypt, and in Egypt he was sold by his brothers. The brothers, they sold him for an exchange of money, and that exchange of money became their own temporary wealth for those brothers that sold Joseph. But Joseph, who was sold to Egypt, was now in Egypt as a slave or a child. For therefore Pharaoh, who was emperor of Egypt, he turned Pharaoh into a king later on in the story, which is chapter 43. So again, like I mentioned, I'm a student from the World Mission Society Church of God, and I study and practice what I learned. And I took the challenge of reading the whole Bible this year, trying to see if I could finish it by uploading a picture or a video of myself reading a chapter each day, so that a book as simple as the Bible could become simple knowledge in our minds. Because in today's society, the Bible seems like it's rocket science to some. And that is my goal through this organization that I've joined. Many people, they call it a cult. A cult is something that many people fear nowadays. In reality, people themselves are living a cult themselves, not realizing that their lives are cults. And not just realizing that chapter 42 has an understanding of what it means to be a true brother from a group of brothers within ourselves. I myself, I'm a testimony of, of two brothers that I love so dearly, and, and and even to this day I struggle to. And even to this day I still. Guess what I'm trying to say is that by recording myself is the only way that I'm gonna come to realize on how to become a better me in the future. You know, for today's a day that's not promised. Tomorrow's another day that's not promised either. So I'm guessing that whoever watches my video on YouTube, you take the challenge of reading the Bible on your own. Try to make it a challenge that you yourself are able to get through it. It's a simple task to do. It's a simple thing to carry into this modern society of boastful ideology from Tesla, from all kinds of NASA, and, and realizations from media about government and politics. In other words, encourage yourselves to try to become more like God. The Bible teaches us that one must become more like God, because when we come to be more like God, we intend to be more human. Again, today is Tuesday, March the 9th. I think I said very earlier. Today is Tuesday, March the 9th, 2021. And brother, if you're watching this, I love you so much, brother.